Welcome back to our second week of our study of compassion. Last week, we learned a new word that helped us learn how to be welcoming and inclusive with people. Do you remember what that word was?
Hospitality!
Yes, it's hospitality. We talked about how hospitality, or welcoming people in, is part of compassion. Today, we're going to talk about another word. But first, do you want to play a game?
My God is strong. He'll do anything big or small. Nothing is impossible for a super wonderful God. Every day I can know God is always there for me and my family. Every day I can know greater is the one who lives inside me. Super big, super strong, super wonderful.
playing and singing with us. Now it's time for our new word on the street. Today's new word on the street is...
Courage!
Yeah, it's courage. What is courage?
Courage is something you feel, and basically means brave, just a different stance of it. Like, you're more brave than just brave. And courage is also just something everyone should have. Well, you show it by conquering your fears. Like, you have to, like, for example, if you, like, are scared of something, then you need to just get over it. You need to, like, what I do when I'm scared of something is I just think of, something funny happening to it. You can encourage them, like, tell them good stuff like, you can do it. I know you can do it. Or, you're doing awesome. Or, maybe if it's like a sports game, you could say, you're the best player out there right now. Or stuff like that.
Wow, what great examples of courage and how we can be courageous. Thanks. Now it's time for our Bible story. As you listen to this story, you're going to hear some words and some names that are kind of familiar, but they sound just a little bit different. That's because today's story is an ancient Hebrew story, and the person telling the story is using the ancient Hebrew names to tell it. Listen closely for those differences, and also listen closely to see if you can find someone who is being courageous.
Meet Shiphrah and Puah. When we first see them at the beginning of the Exodus story, they're introduced as humble midwives, Hameyaladot ha'ivriot. This can mean the Israelite midwives or the midwives of the Israelites, which is a very important difference. They help mothers deliver babies, and they're important here because Paro's murderous plan to kill the Israelite baby boys involves midwives. He tells them, here's what you have to do. When an Israelite woman is giving birth, check to see if it's a boy or a girl. If it's a boy, kill it. Tell her that the baby was born dead. If it's a girl, let it live. Initially, we have every reason to think the midwives will go ahead with this plan. Paro has the power to kill people. He's able to afflict an entire nation. It would take a lot of courage to stand up to Paro, but that's exactly what Shiphrah and Puah do. The Torah tells us that they feared God, and because of that, they let the babies live. When Paro confronts them, they bravely lie, telling him that by the time they get to the Israelite women, they've already given birth and haven't had the opportunity to carry out the orders. Paro is forced to move to his next plan, to throw the baby boys into the Nile. But who knows how many babies Shiphrah and Puah managed to save in the meantime? There are two traditional ways to read the story of Shiphrah and Puah. In the first read, Shiphrah and Puah are themselves actual Israelite women. They're standing up for their friends and family, willing to risk death so that their people don't suffer. The confusing part of seeing them as Israelites is why Paro would have thought they'd carry out his plan at all. One possible reason, Paro assumes that everyone is afraid of him, and he doesn't think that people have courage of their own or that they're willing to take a stand for what they believe is right. Another possible reason is that historically, the Israelites haven't always been great about protecting each other. After all, the way the Israelites wound up in Egypt in the first place was because Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. Maybe Paro figures that this is a people who don't look out for each other. Shiphrah and Puah are the first to prove that maybe that's not true. The second way of reading the story and the phrase Hameyaladot ha'ivriot is that Shiphrah and Puah are Egyptian midwives who help Israelite women give birth. In some ways, this reading of the story makes a lot more sense. Of course, Paro would assume that Egyptian midwives would be willing to carry out his order and kill Israelite babies. Why would they not? Like the rest of the Egyptians, Paro figures these midwives are afraid of the Israelites and willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they're controlled. In this reading of the story, Shiphrah and Puah's active resistance is a little less obvious, but deeply important. It shows us that all Egyptians are not the same. There are some, like Paro and the taskmasters, who are willing to do whatever it takes to maintain power and control. But there are others, like Shifra and Pua, and like Bat Paro, like Paro's daughter herself, who rescues baby Moshe from the Nile. These Egyptians fear God and are willing to look out for babies and vulnerable women, and are willing to take chances with their own lives rather than go against their own consciences. Who do you think Shifra and Pua, Hameyaladot HaIvriot, are? Israelites who saw their chance to stand up for their community? Or Egyptians who knew what they were commanded to do was wrong? Either way, this act of courage is what sets the whole story of the Exodus, the Israelites' freedom from slavery, into motion.
Now it's your turn to tell this story. Stop this video and get our story packet. You can download it off of social media or our website. After you've had a chance to lay the story packet out, you can use the storytelling cards to show what happens at the beginning of our story, in the middle, and at the end. Spend some time with the people around you, telling the story and talking about it using the discussion questions provided. Pause the video. We'll see you back here in just a minute. Great job telling the story. This week, look for ways that you can be courageous and show compassion to others. We'll see you guys next week. Bye!